Last December, at an industry gathering in Houston, leaders in big oil companies like Chevron and even Saudi Aramco had a common view that the speed of transition to clean energy is what's causing market volatility and inflation. What's your take on that? And do you think we are at the risk of facing imbalanced transition and we have the right transition strategy in place?
I think the speed of transition itself is probably not the center of the issue. And if anything, I feel that it is not happening fast enough and we cannot delay the transition anymore. But at the same time, we do believe this needs to happen in an equitable way. And I do agree that some of the natural resources, especially natural gas, for example, will play a part while we build more clean energy capacity and technology, such as energy storage, which is still work in progress. I think the important thing is that probably if I was to pick three things, the first bit is that we take the ambitious but realistic scenarios when making assumptions or building strategy against it. The second point is the making sure that transition is balanced. For example, making sure that we incorporate the affordability aspect when it comes to transition and energy options. And we need to think about transition in conjunction with social issues, not just from an environmental perspective. Also, just making sure, thirdly, but not last, that energy or utilities companies who have probably today the most carbon intensive business can be part of the solution. And we engage with companies on the very topic of energy transition. And in fact, looking at engagement activities stats, our top 5 most engaged sectors include energy and utilities companies.
You see, there are two sides to the higher prices, right? Higher prices will drive more investment in oil and gas drilling among fossil fuel companies. And given the abundance of oil in the market, that would lead to lower prices. And on the flip side, higher oil prices also further supports the case for energy transition. What is your view on the energy rally and its impact on the transition to a low carbon economy?
I think it's an interesting aspect that there are two sides, and it's really sort of push and pull in terms of making sure that there is that right balance. I do agree that higher oil prices, and especially the volatility piece, is not just the high, the price itself being high, but having that volatility and uncertainty that natural commodities would bring can support the case of energy transition. And I guess in addition, cost of carbon is going to increase with the expectation that carbon tax and carbon pricing, etc., is going to be implemented and going to be increasing. That is really going to be an important incentive to the economy to decarbonize. And I think that will also play a part in terms of that whole kind of mix around the price of carbon.
The recent rebound in traditional energy stocks, boosted by increasing commodity prices and the underperformance of renewables, has left some investors asking whether the level of transition risk often associated with these energy stocks is in fact overblown. What is your take on that?
I think it's really about the timescale and how of a longer term thinker can you be when you're looking at transition. I think to directly answer your question, I don't think the level of transition risk has been overblown, but it does come into effect in different time phrases, and I think it's important to incorporate that. At the end of the day, if we look at longer term, we are expecting $140 trillion of investments. And this is needed to decarbonize energy supply by 2050. So that long-term story wouldn't really change with the recent rebound in traditional energy stocks. It is supported by science that we do need to be prepared for these transition